Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist, and this video is for all of you friends who are using this method to apply your makeup or Seint 3D foundation. You're using this method and you are having issues with your Seint not lasting. You blending it and seeing no dimension between all of your colors. They just kind of blur all together. It not giving you enough coverage, not covering your distractions, whether that be redness, hyperpigmentation, acne, dark circles, your contour looking patchy, not blended. Most importantly, you have more mature skin like me, and it settles into fine lines or looks cakey or emphasizes texture on your skin or it feels heavy or tacky, sticky. Today, I'm gonna share with you the best method to avoid all of those things. Yes, I also was guilty of using this method when I first started wearing this makeup. I have now been an artist for over 7 years, which means I have troubleshooted with thousands of clients and on my own face, and I have learned more about this makeup than any other brand. And through that, I found the best method to avoid all of those troubleshooting issues. They're so easily avoided with a different method of application. Share that with you today. So if you are having issues, keep watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. Okay, friends, I first want to say that there are so many different ways you can apply Seint's 3D foundation. There is no wrong way or right way, but this makeup, just like any other makeup on the planet, its formulation makes a difference, meaning this is one of the reasons why there are so many products on the market. It really is a matter of understanding the formulation, the best way to apply it, and your personal preference. But because I understand this formulation so well, I can tell you, it's not the makeup, it's your application method. There's only 2 things that really are going to create any of these issues I listed, and that is the color you're using and the way you're applying it. And usually that in turn also affects the amount you're applying. Because if you have the wrong color, you're gonna apply too much, you're never gonna get the coverage you want, and you're gonna get all those other issues that also stem from over application. So first things first, make sure you have the right colors. And I'm gonna be talking about using color correction because that is the holy grail in my eyes of why this makeup is so different and what made the biggest difference for me personally in order to get the look I want. So if you are unsure of your colors, I will drop my color match request down in the pinned comment as well as the caption below the video. I believe makeup is very nuanced, meaning you can't just look at someone's face and give them a color. I take into consideration how you wanna wear your makeup, your skin type, how you wanna wear your makeup, the issues you might say you have. If you have discoloration on your face that you're needing extra coverage on, that is a completely different match than somebody who wants very natural, no makeup and has a perfectly even skin tone. Not the same thing as someone with my face and my concerns. So even though this is the paint by numbers technique, you will see artists all over social media using this technique. And for good reason. It shows the simplicity of the makeup, that you can simply tap in and just kind of paint on and understand placement of where each color goes on the face. It's a great learning tool in order to learn placement if you are brand new to contouring the face, right? You can say, oh, do a 3 like this, contour the nose, under the lip. Very simple, blend it all out. It makes it seem very simple with zero nuance, meaning it doesn't take into consideration how you want to wear your makeup or what concerns you might have on your own face. And to me, that's not giving you what you're asking for. It makes it seem like, oh, one layer all over the skin is going to give you the lightest hand of makeup. But the problem with this is that depending on how much you are dipping into your color or tapping in with your finger or swiping in, the amount you're applying on your face, in my opinion, is way harder to control this way than the method I'm going to show you. Way harder. This leads to a lot of issues I see that I talk about. Oh, so many things I'm troubleshooting with clients on a daily basis is because of this method, which is why you will rarely ever see me show it. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for most of my clients, especially those with mature skin. And so even though this is really fun to show on social media, it is meant to grab people's attention. It's not meant to teach you nuances of this makeup. That's what I'm here for. It can be simple if you know how to avoid these things. And they're all very easily avoidable with a certain technique. So shout out to one of my customers who reached out and saw someone using this brush and this method and asked me about it and made me think of the idea for this video, because it also made me want to address that I really want to encourage you guys to have a critical eye for what you see on social media. There's a lot of, short reels trying to get your attention. If you can't see in a makeup video somebody's skin texture when they're done with the makeup, like if you can't see pores under it, like you can see all of my texture, you can see the pores, right? If you can't see that, please know that there are many people using filters and are giving an unrealistic expectation of what this makeup can do. It is makeup. Nothing can fill in every pore unless you spackle it on your face. Let's be real. And one of the greatest things I've learned about this makeup, and as I'm now 7 years older than when I first started wearing it, less is more. This method, and then not showing you how long it takes to blend out, which this takes a lot longer, to be honest, and then showing a flawless face that is completely filtered is not realistic. So when you see something like that, I just encourage you, be a little critical. If you know me, you know I loathe filters, and I don't mind filters for fun, but if you are showing a makeup product, it is not realistic. So just a little food for thought. I feel like social media is getting more and more misleading the longer I'm in this business. The more you know, and the more you know what to look out for, the more you're gonna recognize it when you see it. So that being said, when is this method good for somebody? And because there are many methods, and I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying that this can lead to a lot of troubleshooting issues. Now, if you have a very even skin tone, meaning you don't have contrast in your skin, like you don't have depth of under eyes like I do, or dark spots, or redness, or areas of your face darker than anywhere else, you could definitely use this method. If you want very quick, easy, and can control exactly how much you are picking up on the brush, don't mind blending longer. This method requires, I know it seems easier, people show it and then they're just like, then you just blend. Our makeup is different. It's not formulated like some of these other stick products I have that are really creamy and blend out like amazing. If you have to spray your face and really saturate it in order to get the color to blend, it's not gonna be giving the best coverage. Like, our contours give coverage. That is why they're not creamy. That's why they're drier. They're designed to stay put where you put them. So it is much harder to blend this out and not make it look patchy, especially if you have dark spots in that area or redness in that area. It will actually affect how your contour looks. If you just want like really natural, very little coverage. This method can definitely work for you. It's gonna give as good of coverage as the method I'm gonna show you, but it is a really fast, easy way. And when I talk to clients, I a lot of times find that they love it the first couple times they do it, and then they realize later they're either applying more because they're trying to get better coverage, and then they start feeling sticky or tacky, or it's leading to settling into fine lines, creasing, or they're seeing as they wear it for a full day, they're losing longevity on parts of their face. Now, if you aren't good at controlling it, it can lead to you over applying and having just too much product to kind of push around all over your face. In my opinion, that amount that I had on my face was way more product than I apply on a normal basis. But that's because I was using a brightener shade here and here to highlight, my main shade to fill in the gaps, and then just contour around the perimeter of my face. It does not look bad. It looks better than no makeup, right? You can't control it. You're gonna feel like you need to set it, and you're gonna be saying, I'm having longevity issues. You're gonna feel tacky, and you're gonna feel like you need to use a loose powder on your full face. If the only way you can get coverage is to really pile on the product and then use a setting powder to keep it on all day, you have a color issue, not necessarily an application issue. And I see that a lot with this method, and because people want to do this method and they're color matched too light, or they're not using a color corrector, which can solve all of those issues. So let's get into the differences. I'm going to show you a different method. This is going to allow you to control how much you're applying throughout the entire process. So instead of just being done and then having to go in and being like, oh, but I need more coverage there, and having to like load on more product, okay? Or like fix certain areas, or like be like, oh, I need to like, my contour went too low and I need to fix areas. If you don't want to have to fix anything, you can apply just as much as you need while you're going. Control it, get the coverage you want where you want it, but you don't necessarily have to put it all over your face. So here you fill in every gap with what color goes where. In this method, you don't have to apply as much. Say if your jawline is not discolored, you only need to put it where you. So this is one of the main reasons why I fell in love with this makeup so much, is because I can apply it differently depending on the day to get the look I want. So if one day I want my skin to show because I'm having a great skin day, I'm gonna apply it in the exact same way, and I'm just gonna change the brush I use, the amounts I'm applying, and I can get anything from a no makeup look to a full coverage look with the exact same method. And so this method is gonna work for anyone, whether you have a lot of discoloration or you want it super simple and quick and fast. So we're gonna use a color corrector. Now, one of the things that took me years to learn with this makeup, to be honest, is that this color, like I just loaded on there, in a couple hours, that's gonna be completely gone. That dark spot's gonna be showing. My redness, especially my broken capillaries, I have rosacea. Obviously, I have hyperpigmentation. I also have under eye circles, and that didn't do a whole lot for them. I need to match the depth of those spots in order to get all day wear and good coverage. If you put a lighter shade over it, you might get a temporary kind of blurring effect from the lighter pigments, but it doesn't stay on that area and give you all day coverage. That is the problem I see the most. And so this is where I learned color correction. You use a darker shade, might look crazy, and then you keep yourself matching with your main shade, okay? My color corrector is Mango. You'll hear me refer to it as Magic Mango. I use anything from a dense brush for small little areas because once again, this method of color correction, you only apply it where you need it. Now, some people have an entire face darker than their neck, but they want to match their neck. You can't apply a neck color across your whole face. It will fade and you will no longer look like you're wearing any makeup. You have to match the darkest point of your face with your highlight that matches that point. Then you can keep yourself matching with your main, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna barely tap in. I use very little product. Do you see how little that is? You can barely see it on my hand, yet when I was swiping on, like, I always say, swipe or no swiping, like, there's no need to swipe on this product. It's not creamy like you see a lot of other brands that are meant to just kind of blur out, like blend out so easily. These are designed to stay put and give good coverage with very little product. That is why they're so pigmented and look nothing like my color in the 10. All right, so on this side, I was wearing these two. I'm gonna wear all three over here. And 3 shades doesn't mean more work, it just means more precision. And that allows me to use less product and allows me to get more of a skin-like look and all day wear. I'll show you what these look like by the end of the day. So, I am very much a less is more. Just like any other makeup formulation on the planet, you have to understand that formulation and how it's designed to be applied. Even liquids, you don't want to squirt it straight on the brush because it's going to go on patchy. Like, there are methods to getting better application, and for this product, it's using the least amount of product possible. So you don't necessarily have to set your entire face, and you don't need a setting spray. I don't need either of those things except maybe a touch of setting powder under my eyes because I like the blurring effect and I have massive smile lines. So in order to keep it really light-handed, you buff, okay? Whereas this way, we were just kind of blending it all together. In this method, you press on a little bit, you buff it in small circles. So you're using so very little product, you can't see it on the skin. That's how you're gonna get a no makeup look and get better coverage than this side. Far less product, less stickiness. In fact, I can feel my rosacea coming out on this side. You probably can't see it because I use like a bright orange blush, but I can feel it. And that just means it's gonna slowly start peeking out because I used a shade too light. I did not use a shade to correct. So we have a lot of different highlight shades, but the problem with color matching, we don't have a shade at every depth of the line. So there's not, you know, like a cool, neutral, and warm shade at if you're fair, and then if you're medium. It doesn't work that way. And so it's kind of, it takes a lot of experience for an artist to like learn the combination of shades you need to get your custom match, because it is not as easy as saying, oh, you're medium skin tone, you're Athens. No, Athens doesn't color correct at all. So just know that that is part of what an artist can do for you, is they can match you to your right shades. Every artist has different methods. I learned to match based on my experience, my color matching my own clients, and constant contact with them. Because that's the only way I could learn what works and what doesn't. So again, I have a lot of depth in that inner corner, but I'm using a shade that corrects those blue and purple tones, and also these dark spots, also my redness. And so again, not all of our shades will do that. So a lot of times if you're using a shade, you just need a corrector under maybe a shade you already have, or you just need a completely different method of application. It truly kind of depends. This is why in my color match, I will ask you, what shades do you already have? That way I can see if you can still utilize those without having to buy a completely new color palette. So even though this shade is way too dark for me, so far I've only used my color corrector, and you can see how much coverage I get just from using the lightest amount possible. Okay, now you can tell it's bringing me a little bit too dark for my neck, right? A little too warm. The warmth is what's color correcting so well. This is why I still have to use that no matter what. But now I'm gonna use my main. So I use the least amount corrector as possible. I'm gonna go in with my main shade, which is what I used over here. And then I'm just going to, and this time I'm gonna pick up the shape brush. Usually I recommend either the blush end of the blush bronzer or the rounded end of the shape. That first brush was the small end of the blend because it's nice and dense and it can buff. This one's a little bit too flexible, but it has a nice taper, so it really kind of blends. And now I'm just gonna tap it. I'm just gonna tap it across my face, and it's gonna keep me matching. So I'm not buffing because I don't wanna mix those two together. I wanna keep the color correcting properties of the first one. This next shade does not color correct at all. It is very neutral, so it is gonna tone down the warmth of that first shade. And I'm trying to do this on half of my face. This is why I am a strong believer that one layer doesn't mean anything. It's how much product overall are you using. I use way more product with one layer on this side. I'm gonna use far less over here, and you'll see by the time I'm done, it's gonna look more like skin, but I will have better coverage, and it was all in the method. Okay, so there you go. There is my main. So now I'm matching better, tone down some of the warmth, but I'm still not done. I rarely ever see anyone on this side using the sponge, the Perfector sponge. And I'll be honest, I was also one of those people when I first started wearing this makeup thinking this is not needed, that applies liquid foundation, but this one is unlike that. So let's go ahead and contour. And then I'm gonna show you how the Perfector is the game changer for this method. So I'm gonna pick up the detail. This is my ride or die because it's got this straight edge. That way I can kind of tap in. Now, you would not believe how much I had to like get into that contour to get the color off, because our contours are so dry and they dry out on the 10, right? So you have to kind of press in and get that color on your brush. It's a part of understanding and learning how this makeup works, that these aren't like super blendable contours. These contours give coverage. So they are gonna really like stay where you put them. Like you can go swimming and you're gonna come out of the water with contour still on your face. They're not gonna come off. They're dry in consistency for a reason, and it's longevity. Now for me personally, I have a lot of dark spots and again, my redness in that area. And so this is why I corrected first. Now when I put this down, I'm not gonna move that product. I'm just going to put it on and blend at the same time as I'm applying. So I'm not doing this motion. I'm getting a nice defined contour because that's what I like. And you can apply as little or as much as you want. And if you're like, oh, Sarah, that's too much, then just go back in with your highlight brush and just kind of tap over it. Okay, but that way you can control it and you're not exposing those dark spots under it. I don't know if you can see the hyperpigmentation. Like, it looks patchy. That's for one reason, is because I didn't highlight under it, because that's gonna add additional coverage, but also I didn't color correct, and I have too many dark spots, and dark spots are the easiest way to make it show patchy. I also feel like when you put a straight line and then you have to work really hard at blending it out, it never blends perfectly even. You're always gonna have parts of your skin naturally that are gonna cling to that color more than others. And so it's gonna blend out patchy. It's just kind of logical, right? Ooh, I don't know if I ever blended under here. Just gonna pull that down the neck. Now, I will say the one thing I do highly recommend the smudge brush for is the nose contour. The only time you ever need a brush this small and detailed is small, detailed areas. And then I'm just gonna use this like really flexible end of the shape brush, because I will be honest, the older I get, the more I realize like just how very little brightening shade I want to use. The lighter you go with our highlights, the more it can emphasize texture. And if you're not matching the darkest point under your eyes first, like I feel like this, can you see those little dots? Like you can see the chicken skin, I call it, so much more because I didn't color correct this side first. So you can still brighten. In fact, you can still get a very bright under eye depending on your preference. But I find less is more with any makeup, especially on mature skin. The more product you have on your face, the more it can settle, go into fine lines, make you look older, emphasize texture. So sometimes I say just like brighten right here next to the nose, sides of the nose. This area through here that on this side we used, sometimes I just avoid that altogether, especially with the lightest shade. It's gonna, like everyone's got texture between their brows. Can you see that? Yeah, no filter, okay? We all got texture there, usually right here, definitely here. Avoid those areas with your lightest highlight shade in order to decrease the look of texture on your face. Other than that, and using the perfector and then using a powder to kind of blur that area and take away that light reflection that again shows texture of the skin, that's all you can do. Don't apply too much product, just avoid areas. And I find it so much easier like to do that with a more precise method. So now I'm just gonna use the perfector. I have left this out to kind of dry as I've been talking. Now I'm just gonna press it over the skin. I feel like I never see people use this method and then use the perfector. I feel like my skin texture looks completely different. Does this side look like skin? But the perfector is a must for me under my eyes. In fact, over here, I already have creasing in those deep lines. Doesn't surprise me. But I'm gonna go ahead and set this side how I normally do, which is very simple. Powder brush, I'm gonna touch vanilla dust. That's it. And then just put it right there. And I just take excess down my smile line. Sometimes I push a little bit right there in my brow because for some reason my brow is very shiny. And that's it. You can put a little bit on the end of your nose. Depends on what you like matte. I tend to say the lowest points of your face where you could possibly crease. But when I use this method, I never get creasing even in the lowest points, which is my smile lines. I always powder underneath my eyes because it kind of helps blur those lines. Whereas you can see kind of light reflection here and it makes me look older. It kind of blurs those out a little bit and it helps. Again, just knowing how to apply it. Our vanilla dust is amazing as long as you don't over apply it. You don't need a lot of product. If you use too much, it again can make you look older by emphasizing lines, right? So it's very finely milled, but you don't need much. Okay, I like to do the perfector before I blush because again, it's all about control. And so many times people are telling me that their blush won't last. This method, really, it's going straight to the skin. I feel like it can wear off a lot quicker. Our blush even kind of dies down after 5 minutes. I feel like the best way is to perfect, get your face exactly how you want it. Then you can apply just the amount you need, right? So again, take the guesswork out of it. Be strategic. It saves you from then going back to your face 2 hours later and having to touch up. I never touch up my face during the day as long as I'm applying it like this. So I don't even remember what I used on this side. It was Disco Inferno, which is is it a semi-gloss or a gloss? I can't remember. I'm just gonna barely touch it and again, control it. So now I can get my blush exactly where I want. I'm not gonna have to buff into the skin to blur it out. I'm just gonna touch it lightly to get it to distribute on the face and then just kind of gently tap. I'm barely putting any pressure with the brush and I can slowly add a little bit more pressure and get it exactly how I want to kind of connect my contour and add kind of some life to my face. Whereas this side, to be honest, I can kind of see the color because I used a bright one, but it just kind of blurs together with everything else. Again, because of the way it was applied. And my favorite part is then you can easily layer. The best part about lip and cheeks is not necessarily mixing them, but using a matte and then topping it with the gloss for glow or for the shimmer or to kind of switch up the way your shades are or to get better longevity, to be honest. When you're using this method, it's all gonna mix together. It's not gonna wear the same if you're using a gloss. I would say if you're having longevity issues with anything that is not a satin formulation, put a satin down first in a similar color family. Then you can layer Disco Inferno over it. I'm gonna layer a little Sunshine State over it for that glow. And I feel like the two sides of my face don't even look comparable anymore. Last but not least, we're gonna add a little Nova right where you need it, right to the cheekbone with the perfector so it blends it at the same time. I don't really see a lot of people putting Perfect Illuminator on at the same time, but if you did, it would probably, I don't know, blur together. Whatever your preference might be. Okay, friends, there you go. I went ahead and did my brows, lips. I used Diamonds Are Forever lipstick with Makeup Forever Endless Cacao. And one thing I didn't touch on was bronzer. And I'll be honest, I don't feel like I need any. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't even put any on this side, but I see people dotting bronzer on and mixing it all in together as well. I'm one of those people that's like, you don't necessarily need a bronzer every day. Some people are bronzer girls, I get it, but like sometimes you need to decide, like, do I need one today? And if your skin color changes, which everyone's does, especially if you are a skincare lover and exfoliating, or if you self-tan, if you don't self-tan and you actually just get normal color during the year, you sometimes have to put on your makeup and look and be like, do I need warmth anywhere? And so I did not put on any bronzer except my neck. I pulled a little bit down my neck. Xanadu is my go-to, but I don't need any on my face. And so if I would have mixed that in, it would have automatically made me too warm. I got a nice skin-like finish. It looks like I'm wearing makeup, but I don't feel like it's heavy. I don't feel tacky or sticky. I don't need to set any other part of my face. I don't need a setting spray, and I know it's gonna last all day because I was controlling how much I applied. I was strategic in making sure all of my issues were covered with as little product as possible. And I'll try to do a wear test and show you guys the difference the two sides are gonna look after a full day. And hopefully this made sense and this can help you avoid all of those troubleshooting issues I discussed. So if you've tried 3D this way, you wanna know more about how to apply it in a new way, get better results. If you're not getting the look you see on social media, have a critical eye and reach out to me. It might just be your application method or the colors. You might need a color corrector like I do. Happy to help you out. My color mesh request is, again, in the pinned comment and the drop box below the video. Just fill that out and let me know how you like to wear your makeup so I can customize it for your method and your skin tone and the coverage you want for your concerns, no one else's. Thank you guys so much for watching and being here. I'll see you next week. Love you.